Welcome to another day in Oceanic Investigation Documentary. My name is Anacris&Marion.
And my name is Mariana Hernandez. And today we decided to look into 4 different marine organisms, which are
Tube worms,
zooxanthellae
sea snakes,
and polar bears.
We decided to look into each organism and investigate the following: trophic level,
Ecosystem,
intraspecific and interspecific relationships,
symbiotic relationships,
biotic and abiotic factors,
and their environmental zone.
We hope you enjoy.
Our first organism is tube worms. Symbiotic relationship. In tube worms, we are able to find mutualism, which is when both organisms benefit from the relationship. An example that supports this symbiotic relationship would be tube worms with microorganisms. Ecosystem. The tube worm's ecosystem would be hydrothermal vents. Hydrothermal vents are openings in the ocean floor that look like giant chimneys. Trophic level. Tube worms are primary producers. This level is found at the very bottom of our pyramid. Tube worms don't have either a stomach nor a mouth. Therefore, they cannot obtain their energy from other organisms. Environmental zone. Tube worms are attached to the seafloor. Therefore, they can be found in these zones: the benthic zone, the aphotic zone, and the abyssal zone. Tube worms' biotic factors consist of bacteria mats and seaweed. But for its abiotic factors, it consists of salinity and oxygen.
Moving on to our second organism, we have zooxanthellae. Symbiotic relationship. Corals and zooxanthellae share mutualism by, in a way, benefiting both organisms. Ecosystem. A zooxanthellae's ecosystem is the coral reef, an underwater ecosystem characterized by reef-building corals. Intraspecific and interspecific competition. Zooxanthellae share intraspecific competition with corals. On the other side, intraspecific is displayed when sponges compete with corals for space. Trophic level. As well as tube worms, zooxanthellae are in the primary producers level at the very bottom of our pyramid. Environmental zone. Zooxanthellae are found in the photic zone due to their need of sunlight for growth. Biotic and abiotic factors. Due to the fact that zooxanthellae are only found in corals, the only biotic factors would be indeed corals. The abiotic factors for zooxanthellae are sunlight and temperature.
For our third organism, we have the sea snake. Symbiotic relationship. Snake eel and sea snake share the symbiotic relationship of commensalism by mimicry. In the ocean, the eel is viewed as food for other organisms, while the sea snake is viewed as the predator due to its poison. This goes together because the snake eel looks very similar to a banded sea snake. Therefore, the snake eel will disguise itself as a snake to protect itself from predators trying to eat them. Ecosystem. Sea snakes are benthic foragers that inhabit shallow coastal habitats and coral reefs. This means that we are able to find the sea snakes at the very bottom of the ocean. The interspecific competition happens between sea snakes themselves. But for interspecific competition, it happens with octopuses. Trophic level. Sea snakes are secondary consumers. However, they can sometimes be tertiary as well. Environmental zone. Depending on the type of sea snake, they can be either found in the benthic zone, buried under the sand waiting for their prey, or some even go to the abyssal plain to find prey. You will always find them in the bottom of the ocean. The sea snake biotic factors consist of eels and coral reefs. And for its abiotic factors would be sand and water.
Last but not least, we have the polar bears, our favorite out of our 4 organisms. Trophic level. Polar bears can either be tertiary and quaternary consumers. Some examples are polar bears consuming fish like trout, salmon, and cod, which are secondary consumers, making polar bears tertiary consumers. Another example are polar bears consuming ringed seals, which are tertiary consumers, making them quaternary consumers. Ecosystem. A polar bear's ecosystem can be the following: Arctic sea ice, water, islands, continental coastlines. Although they can inhabit any of these areas, polar bears prefer sea ice habitat with leads and polynians, next to continental coastlines or islands. Intraspecific and interspecific competition. An example of a polar bear's intraspecific competition would be the following: a female polar bear protecting her cubs from polar bears looking to eat them. Polar bears fighting each other to win the right to mate with a female. For the intraspecific competition, a perfect example would be polar bears competing with seals, killer whales, and walruses for food. Symbiotic relationship. Polar bears share a mutualism relationship with Arctic foxes. Foxes travel behind polar bears and scavenge on scraps of food. Polar bears sometimes benefit as well by sometimes hunting them for food. Biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic factors include seals, whales, and penguins. Abiotic factors include snow and cold. Environmental zone. Polar bears can be found in the Nordic zone. They are found on top of pack ice, and during the winter months, some parts of the ocean freeze. Therefore, they can be found there too.
Hi! We are back from our investigation, and we hope that you were able to learn at least a little bit about each of our marine organisms.
We had such a great time looking into each organisms, and we hope that you enjoyed it too.
Now, we will do a few questions about each organism to see if you really understood and remember the information we went over. So Anna, what was our first animal?
Our first animal was tapeworms. What is a tapeworm's symbiotic relationship with microorganisms?
You guessed it right!
Mutualism. What was our second organism, Mariana?
Our second organism was the Susanthole. Now, what is a Susanthole's trophic level? Yes! It's primary producers. Good job!
They are at the bottom of the pyramid.
Now, Anna, what was our third organism?
The sea snake. Okay, so for the sea snake, what was their biotic factors? Name at least the one. Yes! Coral reefs or eels, if you said one of them. Good job.
Bravo!
And last but not least,
We
our
have-
favorite animal, Marion.
Polar bears! I love this
Nice.
animal. This was the best animal that we had. But, okay, so what is a polar bear's ecosystem? Come on, that one's super easy.
It's really easy.
You guessed it right. A polar bear's ecosystem is the Arctic Sea. They live on top of the pack of ice. They're always in the frozen ocean. That's where they live.
Okay, thank you so much for watching the video, and we hope you learned a lot and had fun just like we did.
Subscribe. Bye.
Bye.